Function Standard 2, we are entering our last lesson, lesson number 5, and we are going to do the same thing we've done with tables and equations and graphs. We're going to determine the slope and the y-intercept of a linear function when we're given a scenario, so given a kind of a story problem. Same 2 questions I keep asking, so by the time you get done, you should be able to say to yourself, I know how to find the slope from a scenario, and I know how to find that y-intercept. So we'll start right away, and our scenarios are short and sweet. So our first one here is Mila is sitting in math class. She's taking 4 pages of notes per hour. Now, slope, a couple of things about slope here. Slope is like rise over run. So remember way back in lesson 1, we talked about that being a ratio. So when you're looking at a scenario, you're going to look for some type of rate or a ratio. So miles per hour, money per ounce, any of those things that you remember from 6th grade when you did any kind of rate. That is going to help you find your slope. So how do you find the slope in a scenario? The first thing is you're going to look for those words, those rates, per, each, that kind of idea. So when I look at this, I quickly find my idea of rate. It says she is taking 4 pages of notes per hour. There you hear your rate. So if you look at that mathematically, so you still think about it as rise over run, or as a ratio here, it's 4 pages per hour. And just like you read it, it's 4, and I like to put the label there so it makes more sense. 4 pages, so you're going up 4 pages for every 1 hour. So that is how you find the slope. You look for that rate vocabulary or that ratio vocabulary. Y-intercept is kind of the idea. Remember, if you think about a graph, okay, your y-intercept is somewhere on this y-axis is where the storyline is going to start from. What they had at the beginning of, and remember, x is 0 here. So at the beginning, Mila had already read 25 pages. So then our y-intercept would have been 25. Now in this case, it doesn't say that she started writing notes before. This is talking about this particular math class. So at the beginning of this math class, she had read 0 minutes. So this right here, this 0 is just like you see. This is your minutes. So at 0 minutes, Miss Mila has only written 0 pages of notes. So that would be your y-intercept. Equation, same format we've done over and over here. Should know it by heart. Y stays as y. M, your slope is 4, or you can put 4 over 1. I'm going to simplify it just to the 4. Variable is x, and your y-intercept this case is 0. Next storyline, Aubrey has already knitted 4 centimeters of her scarf. She plans to knit an additional 3 centimeters each night until the scarf is complete. Again, looking for slope, you're thinking about that ratio. How much is there changing going on? Just kind of like in the same last lesson, we talked about the change of the y over change of the x. You're looking for the word per, each, something like that. So when I reread it, it says Aubrey already knitted 4 centimeters of her scarf. I didn't see any ratio wording in there. She plans to knit an additional 3 centimeters each night. There it is. Each. I hear the ratio. So it's 3 centimeters per 1 night. So again, find that ratio vocabulary. The y-intercept is where does she start at? So if we go back to the storyline, it says, here's your key here, Aubrey already has knitted 4 centimeters of her scarf. So at the beginning, before we started doing this extra additional 3 centimeters each night, she has already knitted 4 centimeters. So this would be 0 nights. She's going to start by knitting 4 centimeters, or she had started at 4 centimeters. Your equation, y, variable, slope, 3, y-intercept, 4. So what's nice and what you'll continue to work on in algebra is that you could plug in, if I want to say Aubrey is knitted for 10 nights, I can plug in 10 in for x, because remember, x can vary. I can pick 10 nights, 25 nights, take 10 times 3, 30 plus 4. I can say I know for a fact that Aubrey's scarf is 34 centimeters long. says a puppet named Cricket started out at 2 pounds and gains 5 pounds per month or every month. Looking for that vocabulary ratio. Puppy started out at 2 pounds. I don't hear any ratio there, but then I continue and gave 5 pounds every month. So 5, let me change my color here. 5 pounds per 1 month. Right? Going back to the storyline, looking for at the beginning, what did they start at? It looks like the little puppy named Cricket started out at 2 pounds. So that means at the beginning, so at 0, Miss Cricket or Mr. Cricket is already 2 pounds. So your equation, y equals mx plus b. Y is change. M is your slope is 5. X is your variable plus it started at 2 pounds. So 2 goes right here. Now, if I want to know how much the puppy will be in 5 months from now, I'm going to put 5 in for this x. So 5 times 5 is 25 plus 2 is 27 pounds. So equations are really helpful, especially linear, because they are constant rates of change. So you could see into the future in a linear relationship very easy by inputting the variables for x and finding out what y represents. And our last but not least equation here, or scenario, Nick has been given $50 to spend on vacation. He plans to spend $5 per day. Looking for our ratio. Nick is given $50. That sounds like a beginning rate. And he plans to spend $5 per day. So I hear the word per. There is your example of your ratio. So $5 per day. I'll put 1 there, per 1 day. So in 2 days, he'll spend $10. In 3 days, he'll spend $15. Now, because he's spending money, this is a negative idea. If he was making $5, we'd put plus. But since he's spending money, we're going to have our slope negative. If you think about the graph's going to decline. It's going to start, the y-intercept, it's going to start at that 50. If visuals help you, one thing that I do sometimes is a visual. So here's my $50 to start with. And then if he's spending money, it's going down. So notice that's going to be a negative slope. Y-intercept, $50 at the beginning. So our equation would be y equals mx plus b. Y stays y. M is your slope, which is negative 5 over 1. So I'll reduce that to negative 5. X, and then my y-intercept was a positive 50. This includes your last video for 8th grade math. I wish you the best in high school. Please know that I am always here for you. So if you want to come back and ask me questions at some point or email me, I would be more than happy to help you.